Thank you, Arun. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and it's a very pleasant experience. Okay, right? That you talk about mistakes, because nobody has ever asked me that question before. So then I thought it's a very tough topic to do, because normally we are used to topics like what worked well, how to raise money, how to raise capital, how do you exit, how do you start, how do you get the idea. Those are all, I have standard formats and standard slides, okay, right? Which you just mash up and then come and present. This was tough. I thought it's going to take a lot of time. Then I started writing it out, okay, right? Then I finished page 1, then I finished page 2, then I finished page 3. Then I had to actually look at Ismail to see how much time do I actually have, okay, right? So what I'm going to do is really condense some of it and talk to you only about top 6 mistakes. Believe me, there are many more, and we shall keep it for the next year's sessions on the same topic. Okay, right? I'm reminded of a Thai saying. Okay, right? That says, "Experience is a comb that nature gives you after you are bald." Okay, right? So since I am bald, I'm going to share my comb with you. Okay, right? Based on what is it that I have learned, okay, right? And it's very tough and very refreshing to really think back and see what is it that you have done wrong, okay, right? Let me start with the first one, okay, right? First is really, we're all involved in the startup ecosystem. I think first big mistake is starting a business without an exit plan in mind. Right? So that is something that I learned. When I started my first business in 1990, we sold it in 2000, we ran it for 10 years. 1990, there was no venture capitalists, there was no private equity guys, there is no startup capital, there's no ecosystem. So you didn't bother about things like exit, monetization, how would you give returns to investors and all that. But actually, that turned out to be a big mistake, okay, right? We started in 90. It is a company called IT&T. We grew pretty fast. We started growing, a lot of tension, a lot of exhilaration, a lot of success. Great time. But there was no thought about exit, okay, right? Now, that is something which, subsequent ventures, I learned that before you start or while you're starting, think about how are you going to exit. Now, this seems counterintuitive. A lot of people ask me, aren't you very passionate? If you build a great company, if you build it with passion, if you build a good company, if you take care of the customer and build value and have a good product market fit, exit will take care of themselves. That's actually wrong, okay, right? In my opinion, and that's not really true. It may be your company, it may be your passion, it is something that you do with a lot of effort, but how you build a company, what ingredients you put into it, how do you shape the company, what kind of team that you get, what kind of business that you focus on, all of it would depend upon what potential kind of exit that you build. Let's take a very common example. It's like you're buying a house, okay, right? You're buying a house or building a house or buying an apartment, building an apartment, whatever, okay? It's your money, your home, your blood, sweat, and tears. You're going to be very passionate about it. You're deeply involved, committed. All of that is true. But based on what you're planning to do with that house or apartment, you're going to build it differently. For example, if you're going to live there, you will have a completely separate method or way of thinking about what should be the size of your bedroom and drawing room and what should be the size of the kitchen. What kind of, if you have old people, you don't want to put marble because they will slip and fall, you will want wood. If you have a small child, you don't want to have PowerPoints at ground level, you want to have it at a higher level. A lot of these things will go in. Okay, one example. Same house, similar kind of thing, your own money, your own passion, your own commitment, but you are going to build it as an investment, for investment purposes. Okay, it will be very different. If you are going to build it for renting, and you want a rental income from it, eventually when you retire, you will go back to Coimbatore and settle down there, or Nilgiris and go there, but till the time you want to rent it, so your objective is to get a rental income. You will build the same apartment or house very differently. Remember, in all cases, it's your money, your commitment, your house. It doesn't change. Why? When people rent it, They don't rent it per square foot. They rent it based on how many bedrooms do you have. If your plan is to rent it for a long time, you would rather have a smaller rooms, but more number of rooms, because anybody who rents it doesn't look at square foot. You see all the rental classified ads, they talk about 2 BHK, 3 BHK and all that stuff. That is the need. On the other hand, if your plan is to buy it while it's constructed and before you register the property, you want to sell it, then what would you do? You will not do the interiors, because the guy who is going to buy it will not like the great marble that you put in, the great laminates that you have put in, the showcase that you have built in. They would not like it. So what would you do? You will give it as a shell and just do it. When you're renting it, you're going to build your wardrobes and kitchenettes, bare basic minimum, because the rent is not going to increase because you've got great quality finish there. So in all cases, as you can see, based on the end objective, you do that stuff. So that's one great learning, that how, whether you build for profit, whether you go for growth, whether you go for what kind of business, will make hell of a lot. In IT&T, we made that mistake. We kept on going without thinking about it, and we missed. And I'll talk about one of the misses that we did in IT&T in terms of this. That is extremely important. Have an eye on exit and what you do. And I mean, this is quite obvious, right? When Barack Obama decided to go after Osama bin Laden and the forces went in, their main concern was not how to get into Abbottabad or wherever it was that he was caught, Abbottabad. It was not how to get in. It was more how to get out. Okay, right? Because if you can't get out, you are dead. If you can't get in, it's okay. You can try next day, you can try next time, you can try next time. Same is true for all of us. It's easy to get in. If we get into a company and we are not able to get out, then we are stuck for our lives. Okay, right? But if we don't get in, we can always get into another startup tomorrow. That's one learning. The second thing, which again may be very counterintuitive, is passion. People start about, you should start business only when you have passion, when you are passionate about it. Actually, in my opinion, passion is overrated. Okay, right? I don't think we should worry about passion too much. Okay, passion can blind you in more than one way. Like all of us know what passion does. Okay, right? So being passionate to get into a business is wrong on multiple fronts. One, obviously, passion changes. What I loved, whether it's career, whether it's business, whether it's movies, whether it is friends, what I like when I'm 20 years old, when I'm 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, each one of it is very different. Passion changes over time. You may be passionate about something, but you may not be good at it. Would you like to go for something that you're passionate, or you would like to be good at? Passion is also very difficult to prioritize. Okay, right? What you're good at is not difficult to prioritize. Very difficult to prioritize in this. And ultimately, look at it very, very clinically. What you are passionate about, what you spend your time doing is very self-centric. It's about you. What about what is out there? What do people need? What are the unsolved problems? Can I go and get it there? That is a lot more better. Okay, right? Let's take example of customer asset. What is today one of the largest call centers, part of the Sanjeev Goenka group. It's called First Source now. ICICI acquired customer asset and was renamed as ICICI One Source. We just went for it for passion. After we got in, and because it was boom time, we even raised $3.3 million of Series A money in 2000, just before the dot-com bust. After that, we didn't know a clue about that business. We are very passionate about it, but we had no clue about what the business is. What does it require to be able to execute the business? What kind of people is required? We didn't even know in BPO and call centers, there's something called a transition department. We need to transition a process from US or UK to India and all of this stuff. We were extremely fortunate to have raised some money, to have blundered along, to have floundered, to be able to learn on the way and still come out with a decent outcome, okay, right? But that's extremely rare, okay, right? In hindsight, I'll never repeat that. In each of our other business, be it Tutor Vista, be it Portia Medical, be it Big Basket, before we actually started the business, okay, right? We got the people, we got the domain expertise, we got the people who could pull it off, we were deconstructed what is required to pull off the business, got all the ducks aligned up in one place before we started the business. Very clinical, nothing to do with passion. So that really is a great learning. That don't get carried away by passion. Passion is very highly overrated. The other thing which I learned is people talk about having founders, co-founders, and all of that stuff. My first business had 6 co-founders. I think 6 is a bit too many. Okay, right? I still believe all my businesses have co-founders, 2 or 3 co-founders max. Anything beyond 4 gets into very difficult to manage at a founding level. That is one learning. On the same thought, similar structure was the first business, the only business where we were all equal co-founders. There was no CEO. That again is, in my opinion, a mistake which I'll never make again. It was a disaster. We used to have constant fight, whose decision was it, who takes the call. It doesn't really matter whichever one, whether it's you or your co-founder, but designate one person as the CEO. Give him 0.5% more. It doesn't have to be equal. Okay, 0.5% makes no difference. But at least there is full and complete clarity in terms of structure. Okay, right? We are always, each of our other businesses, we are very clear. In Tutor Vista, Srini and I started the business. I had 60%, he had 40%. We were equal in all respects. Okay, right? Treatment-wise, everything-wise. But it was very clear who is the CEO, I was the CEO. Who is the CEO, who is the CT. Similarly, in Portia Medical, Meena is the CEO. Okay, Srini and I and all of us have shares, but who is the CEO is very clear, and CEO has got slightly larger percentage. Just to be clear as to who calls the shot. It's almost like, it's quite natural, almost like having a car, great car, all of you are passionate about, 4 of us put money in the car, but because 4 of us have put money in the car, we have 4 steering wheels. Okay, 4 of us are going to drive. Why? Because all of us have equal money in the car. Can it work? No. You have to have one driver, one steering wheel. However much you are passionate about it, however much is your car, your baby, you are not going to have a car. Okay, right? You have to be very, very clear. Okay, right? So the other great thing is somewhat related to passion, and this is something which we learned related to passion, but it's a different point. Is be inward looking. IT&T is a great example. In 1990, we started IT&T. It was a computer hardware maintenance company. It grew up to be one of the top 3 computer hardware maintenance company in India. We pivoted to software, we pivoted to system integrator, networking specialist, and all of that stuff. All of that went well. But because we were so deeply looking inside, we were struggling to grow, and we were managing the cash flow. We were very busy. The business was growing nicely. We were not really struggling to grow. The business was growing nicely because computer industry was growing nicely. All of that was great, but we never looked outside because we are so busy with inside. And part of it is fighting between the equal co-founders and all that. A lot of it is with growth. We missed the software boom completely. Okay, right? One of the biggest challenges we entrepreneurs have is we get stuck up with the inside. Even at best of the times, inside growth issues, we lose the opportunity. If we had spent fraction of the time we spent on IT&T in this hardware sector, if we had even spent a fraction on software, we were at the right industry, we were at the right time, but we are doing hardware services, completely overlooked software. If we had even spent 1/4 of the time and effort on software, our results would have been 100 to 1,000 times more in terms of value creation and valuation, as companies of that vintage have shown in the software. But we're just too busy, okay, right? So when you have a team, when you have core founders, one of you, I mean, that's my learning, one of us should completely take the responsibility of trying to look at what the opportunities are outside and do that. We did that in Tutor Vista. Tutor Vista, we started as a consumer internet company meant for US students, teaching, using teachers in India across. It was the first B2C internet company from India for the US market. All that was great. But because one of us took time to look at what is the other opportunities outside. In this case, we looked at Indian education opportunity. We acquired a company called EduRite. We went into multimedia content for schools. We were the second largest being EduComp. We went after the supplemental education tutorial market. We had 100 centers in Kerala and Karnataka. We went after the formal schools market. We had 25 schools, 35 schools with 25,000 students. All of this we did in a matter of 3 years because we said what we started with the consumer internet model, that by itself is not enough. There are large opportunities in India for us to be able to grow. That really helped us. When we sold the business was $213 million, half the valuation came from these India-based businesses, which was just 3 years old, which we had kickstarted by an acquisition of just $5 million. So the opportunity is huge, and in today's world, with smartphone, with technology, with disruption, opportunities coming by the month or by the quarter. Okay, right? So looking not just inside, looking outside constantly for opportunities. I'm not talking about pivot. I'm talking about additions. I'm talking about capitalizing the opportunity that is there from outside to do it. That is a mistake that I did, and that I think we learned, and we constantly do that. In Portia Medical, in the last 3 months, we did 3 acquisitions, okay, right? Because we are not sitting on the laurels of what we have done in the last 2 years since we started Portia Medical, or the fact that we are able to raise Series B money, but we are looking at more and more opportunities. Still too early to play out which one will win, which one will not win. But having the openness and having the time and the bandwidth and the intent to be able to look at it is very important. The other thing, I think, it was mentioned about growth and how aggressively people are growing and the need to grow and all that. I listened a bit in the earlier panel discussion. One of the mistakes that we've done is scaling too early without getting your unit economics right. And this is an example even from Tutor Vista India days when we opened up new tutorial centers. We did not get the core model right. I would not blame the VCs. I would not blame the need for higher growth from the investor side. I'd blame it just on our own immaturity to be able to not get the basic right, okay, right? And then scale. I think that's a mistake, and we are guilty of doing that multiple times. I'm not saying I will never do it again, okay, right? Because based on what gets valued in the market, what will get me the next round of valuation, I may still end up scaling up stuff before creating any getting unit economics right. But in today's world, where people have declared the winter has come and the winter is coming and all of that stuff, it seems a lot more makes sense to get your basics right and scale. And one of the things is not really our mistake or entrepreneurs' mistake or people in this room, investors' mistake. It is really that in India, because it's such a large country, scale is not too difficult, okay, right? You set up a tea shop outside ITC Gardenia, just because of the amount of traffic and people going up and down, you will be able to sell enough chai, okay, right? Scaling is easy, okay, right? But scaling what? Is there a business model? Is there money to be made? Can we actually build a large company from here? Are very, very tough questions. I think, so one of the key learnings is get your basic right, and then only scale. And this is nothing to do with funding, because no amount of funding can fix a business model that is not right. And we have seen this multiple times. We have seen this in food tech businesses. We have seen it in hyperlocal delivery businesses. We just can't do it. And this is very tough choice. Tough choice for entrepreneur, tough choice for investors, all of that stuff. And I can share with you our own experience at Big Basket, okay, right? In Big Basket, every board meeting, we always have a divided board meeting debate on this, okay, right? Should we scale? Why should we not scale faster? We have done this, we have cracked it, and all that stuff. And the other argument is, no, we are still not cracked the model. We still have to wait. We still have to do it. So first 2.5 years in Big Basket, we did not scale, despite having Series A, Series B money, a lot of money, because the founders, the executive, the people who are actually running it, my co-founders, were very particular, saying that let's crack it, then only we will scale. And there was a lot of pushback from people like me and some other investors saying that no, we should scale because our competitors are coming, other people are coming, Amazon will come, Flipkart will come, everybody's getting into grocery, Ola also got into grocery, Flipkart got into grocery, all of that, they will eat our lunch, we should scale and all that stuff. But we are steadfast, and rightly so. The founders were steadfast in saying that let's get it, and after that we will crack. And which, in hindsight, has stood us in good stead. We are a 4-year-old company in Big Basket, and perhaps the only company with a very solid business model in multiple cities, executing to scale without getting bothered about ups and downs of valuation and all of that. So that, I think, is a great example and great learning, that take a pause and learn to see if your basics are right, if your unit economics is fixed, to be able to scale. Okay, right? And the last one I want to talk about is our own experience in trying to change consumer behavior. And this has to do with a bit with passion. When you're consumed by passion, or when you have a pet thesis, it's true for entrepreneurs, it's true for investors. They all have a pet thesis because something has worked in China, something has worked in US. I will do Uber of this, I will do Oyo of that, and all of that stuff, okay, right? And people get carried away, okay, right? But fundamentally, it's very difficult to change consumer behavior, okay, right? It requires hell of a lot of money. It requires a lot of decades of years of timing to be able to change consumer behavior. I'll give you an example even from Tutor Vista thing. When we are trying to sell online tutoring, personalized one-on-one tutoring in US, we had a very compelling value proposition. The unit economics was good, the value proposition was very compelling. Value proposition was simple. US student could get $100 a month, unlimited one-on-one personalized tutoring at $100 a month. In US, the cost at that time was $60 per hour. So compared to $60 per hour, $100 of unlimited tutoring was great, okay, right? It was awesome deal. And $100 is basically nothing. It's cost of one dinner outside. It's almost like your cable TV subscription or internet subscription. That idea was great. But we had huge challenge trying to scale that business. Okay. And what was the challenge, which we realized much later after this, is that in US, education is not treated as a private spend. People expect it's a government responsibility to educate your child. Education and healthcare is seen as responsibility for the government or for insurance companies. People's propensity to spend personal money on education or healthcare is close to zero. The schools, public school system is very good. They have great schools. They expect it, and they are very happy. So when you go to a parent and say you need to spend even $100 on tuition, they say, why? The school is supposed to take care of it. That's what I pay the taxes for. It's almost like in India, you see this every day, everywhere, right? Even in Bangalore or in Chennai, when you go, you see that. You have multiple crores, million-dollar homes, and inside the home, you'll find lovely marble and everything. Just you step out of your home, on the road, if there is a puddle, if there is a pothole, no owner will, even including me, nobody will fix that by spending even 5,000 rupees. We will spend crores of rupees on inside, but we will step outside, avoid the pothole, or suffer the diseases that come from the mosquito because there is water there in a puddle, but we are not going to fix it. Why? Mentally, we think fixing of that road, even though it's a road just outside our house, mentally we feel it is the government's responsibility. That's consumer behavior and thinking. You just can't change that. And that takes, it's very difficult to change. That's one learning. Similar, same example in US. In India, next to food, education is the second largest spend of the Indian family. Across spectrum, second largest spend. In US, it is the 7th largest spend. 6th largest is DVD, music and DVDs. Okay. Why? Because mentally they are not used to spending that. Now, changing that consumer behavior is very difficult. What is the easiest to do? Don't change consumer behavior, but solve a large pain point. You need doctor, you need physiotherapy, you need medicine. I will have Portia Medical. You don't have to go to a hospital. I can organize the unorganized and deliver it at home, give you a guarantee of quality, consistency, service experience, and all of that I will bring you home. I'm not changing behavior. You need the service. You would have got it either in a hospital or you would have got it from an unorganized mom and pop shop. I'm organizing it. Great. Very simple. No nonsense, no consumer behavior change. Take big basket. Okay. You need grocery. Every day you need milk. Every day you need egg. You buy your soaps. You buy your shampoo. All of that you are buying. Some of it is branded. You buy some of it not branded. But all of it you buy instead of going and buying from a supermarket or buying from a kirana store or buying from an organized retail. I'm going to deliver it to you. I'll capture analytics, I'll give you a good price, I will give you good quality, I will deliver it at home, I'll remove the pain point, no changing consumer behavior. So changing consumer behavior is very, very difficult. That's a mistake we have done, we tried to do in the past, but now we have learned that it's better to go. The effort required to change consumer behavior is too much. It's almost like surfing. When the wave is good, you can surf more easily. Okay, right? Because after you're surfing, when you want to come back to the shore, the waves will bring you back. Otherwise, the amount of effort you have to put to come back to your zero position, to go back again, will tire you out. Okay, right? So those are the 6 top things I wanted to share with you. Okay, right? Great. Thanks, Arun, for the opportunity. Yeah. Thank you very much. We'll do the tea break and come back.